If you are a goldsmith shop owner and you need to get more customers, this is the definitive course in the 4 different ways, the only 4 different ways that you can use to get more customers to walk into your shop and sell more jewelry. So, in this video, we're going to be talking about the 4 marketing channels, the benefits and cons of using each of them, how to get customers using each of them, and in my opinion, which is the best. So, number one is cold outreach. So cold outreach is basically when you don't know the people you are messaging. Now, normally messaging cold outreach happens when you're messaging someone one on one, right? It's kind of same as warm outreach, which is kind of different. But so, for example, cold outreach, you can do this using, for example, email. You can use Instagram or IG, right? You can use, well, honestly speaking, actually, you can use SMS as well. You can just use SMS because you can buy a bunch of phone numbers and SMS them. You can use WhatsApp, right? So you can use a bunch of this messaging platforms to get people to book appointments in your goldsmith shop or in your jewelry shop so that you can actually sell them jewelry. Now, the way basically I outreach to people using cold outreach is basically using the script. So, for example, we say their name and then we just say our name. It's me, it's Lucas, right? I saw your profile and I thought of something. I make custom wedding rings that actually look amazing and don't cost crazy money. And since you seem like someone with good taste, I want to ask you if you know anyone getting married soon who would want a dream wedding ring. Now, obviously, just change the dream wedding ring for something that you're actually selling, right? And the reason, so I learned this from another internet marketer that says when you're soliciting someone for business, right? To this, for example, to strangers, you're asking them for business. You don't want to be asking them directly. I just seen that it has lower response rates, right? But when you're asking them about if they know someone, but you're obviously framing the message so that they feel that this message is for them, but you're asking for someone else, then they normally say, "Hey, I'm looking for it." Right. So this is basically it. And then the second way of getting customers is warm outreach. Right. So this is basically the same as this, is just for people that you know. And I'll give you a tactic to use for both of this, for both of them. But the script for warm outreach, basically people you know, friends and family, right, is basically, hey, your friend's name is me, right? Because they know you. As you know, I make wedding rings that people actually love, and I was thinking about you because you seem like someone who know people who'd appreciate quality stuff without the crazy prices. So, do you know anyone who would be interested in a dream wedding ring? Right. Again, just replace dream wedding ring to whatever piece you're actually offering at that point in time, and then from there you go. Right. Now, interesting thing about both of these is that this is what I used. I don't know if everyone should. This is what I used to do to get leads, right? To get actually people to like find people who to message, right? So I used to go and I started doing this in 2023, early 2023. So I just used ChatGPT at that point, and I just asked ChatGPT, give me a bunch of influencers of a certain niche basically. And since I was in Sweden, I was living there, I just looked at Swedish influencers, female influencers, since we were selling jewelry for other shops, right? And I just went to all of their followings, right? So I just clicked on their followings, obviously on my cell phone, right? And I mean, this person has like 26 million, 2.6 million followers, right? Those are 2.6 million leads, right? Now, obviously, they are not warm leads, right? Remember, they're leads. They don't know who you are, right? But these are the leads, right? Then you have like 2.6 million people that you can message. Now, obviously, remember that a lot of these people you won't be able to message because they have something in their Instagram that you have to actually follow them, and then they have to follow you back so that you can DM them. Sometimes that's the case, but a lot of the times that won't be the case, right? So you basically have 50% of at least 50% of them that you can message, right? That's 1.6 million people that you can message, right? And then you have a bunch of these, right? 1.8 million, right? So you have a bunch of leads that you can go and just send the script to. And remember, think about what we are doing. Like, we need about 4 customers per month to be incredibly profitable, right? Obviously, we have to be selling expensive stuff, right? We're not going to be selling 2,000 Swedish krona or $200 worth of stuff, right? We're going to be selling 30,000, right? So, given that, we just need like 4 people to be very, very profitable, right? So, if you messaged, if you message like 250 people every single day, by the 7th day, you have like 3 customers, right? So, that's what I used to do. These are the scripts. Use them at will, right? And then let's go to the third method of getting customers, which I have never used until this day. We never use. We use content to lead nurture and to test hooks. I've never used content to get customers. However, I'll still show you how the content game is, how we use the content game for getting customers, right? Content game, to be honest with you, is just a feeding for ads, but this is how we use it, all right? So the content game is just a formula of a visual hook, right? Oh, sorry. A visual hook. Sorry, I'm terrible at right. Okay. It's terrible. All right. Anyway, a visual hook, a value, and then a call to action. So what does value mean? Value means, it just means that you are saying to a type of person that this piece of jewelry is for them. That's it. That's what value means in the case of content, at least how we use it, right? Now, obviously, since jewelry shop owners and goldsmith shop owners, this industry is very visual, obviously. So you don't want to be like, for example, for my business, is not very visual, right? It's more information and actually like clicking around and getting an ad, right? But for my ads, I had to have a verbal hook, right? I can also have a visual hook, but a verbal hook is normally what we do. So, for example, my verbal hook on my ads are, if you're a goldsmith shop and you need more customers, then X, then I have a gift for you, right? That's basically a verbal hook. That's what I use in my ads, right? However, for you guys, you will have a visual hook. Now, what I have seen that we use very often is a close up to an unboxing video, right? So remember, you don't need a fancy camera. But in fact, if you don't have a fancy camera, much better, right? You just use your cell phone. So you grab your cell phone, at least this is what we have used. So you grab your cell phone, and there is a model, basically, always female, 100% always female, except obviously if you're selling just to men. But most of the time you're selling for women, to women, right? Or for women. So have a woman in your ad, in your content. I promise you it performs better, right? So you grab your cell phone and then you just zoom in with your hand. You don't actually do this. You zoom in with your hand as they are unboxing a jewelry piece, right? So that's the visual hook. It's a zoom into a jewelry piece, right? There's a beautiful woman, there's a beautiful piece of jewelry, and there's a zooming. It's quick, right? So that's the visual hook that we normally use. Again, we have, I don't know, we have like 20 different variations of basically the exact same hook, but obviously you can find those out. You can see which works best for you, which is easiest for you to film, and just film a bunch of them, right? Because what we are looking for is visual hooks for your ads, right? And then the value is basically the meat of the content. You're saying, hey, if you are or basically the unboxing video is for the girl in the video to put on the jewelry and smile and look beautiful, so that all the women that are looking at your content sees, oh my god, I I want to I want that piece of jewelry, right? Because that woman looks exactly like me and she looks beautiful with that piece of jewelry on, and they're filming her, which means attention, right? So, boom. That's at least what we found, right? And then the call to action, you can make call to actions in your content. We definitely do. Like, to be honest with you, I have heard so many content creators that are much, much better than us, by the way, say don't do that. But we do it because I don't know. We like money, right? So we have a call to action. The call to action is always basically the same. If you are a X in city X, then X, right? Basically, we are looking for 5 women in Stockholm who want a dream wedding, uh, to want a dream wedding ring, basically, right? So call call to actions, you can put it in there, and honestly, this is just to test the hook. That's it. This honest the what we use at least content is just to test. Why is this not? There we go. All right, it's just to test hooks. Now let's go to the fourth way of getting customers: ads. All right, so ads is basically the big beefy boy, right? So ads are paid advertising. All of these are advertising. All of this is advertising. All of these three, they are advertising, right? This is paid advertising. You're grabbing your money and you're paying. Why do we pay for advertisement when we can do it for free? Is that when we pay platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, TikTok, Google, YouTube, all of these platforms that an enormous amount of people are just using and scrolling all day, is that we pay for reach. So, for example, for reach in these two, we have to spend, at least we used to spend, I used to spend about 10 hours just with my phone, bawling my eyes out, just clicking on different contexts, copying, pasting the message, changing the name, pasting the message, right? Just and used to just do that for 10 hours, right? I had to work for 10 hours. My back hurt, my ass hurt, my eyes hurt, everything hurt to get customers, right? I was happy to do it because I didn't have money and I wanted business, right? So I was happy to do it. Now, if you are not happy to do it and you have a little bit of money just sitting around, a little bit of money normally means 500 plus dollars. So just in case, a little bit of money, right? I know Gary V. For those who know, who don't know who Gary Vee is, he's an internet marketer. He's very very good. He's one of the first ones, but he has I saw a reel, a short of him talking about how easy it is to get into ads. You could just do it with $5, and he just repeated the $5. But that's $5 a day, right? It's not $5 and you get customers. It's like $5 a day on one ad, which won't get you many customers, right? So there's kind of this, I don't know, obviously he's an internet marketer and he needs to go viral, or he wants to go viral, or he speaks in sort of hyperbolic ways. He's fantastic, by the way. It's just that is a little bit misleading what he was saying, right? $5. It's just $5 in ads, right? It's like it's $5 every day in ads, right? Like in 1 month, figure how much that would be, right? And it's not going to get you much reach because for ads, you need to test. And that's why, honestly, that's why we use content so that we can test the ads prior to actually running them. So we already know which are the best ones and we don't spend money on shitty ones. Basically, that's basically what we do, right? And so let's get into ads, right? Ads have a couple of different sections. So section number one, and for us is interruption based ads. It's not Google, it's Facebook and Instagram, right? So number one is creative. So the creative is the reels and the images. So the images and the reels, right? Now, obviously, images can be carousels, can be banners, can be posters, reels can be reaction videos, unboxing videos. There are a bunch of subsections within these, right? But these two are basically the ones, right? Reels and images. Now, that's the most important part of interruption based ads because you need to stop scroll. You need to get those strangers from Facebook that you want them to become customers. You need to, sorry, you need them to stop scrolling. Step number one, right? Next is the hook, right? So the hook can be either written or visual, right? So obviously in the creative you will have the hook, but you will also have a hook in the copy itself. So what I mean by this? Well, if we go to let's go to ads library, right? And let's spy on some ads. All right. So none in Bolivia, all ad category, all, and then we can go to Cartier has good hooks. I'm thinking about a company that has a very good hook. All right. Let's not go jewelry companies. Let's expand a little bit. All right. So actually King Kong Co. I think it is like this, right? King Kong Co. Yeah, there we go. So this is a marketing company. They have very good hooks. So this is a hook. Here's how to tickle the pixel. Obviously, this is an ad for Facebook ads, right? So this is an ad to get basically internet marketers or business owners to our marketing on Facebook, right? Another ad. I see what you're doing. Yes, you. Right? So that's the first thing you will see when you scroll through the ad. You will see the creative, and then after you see the creative, you will see this, right? I see what you're doing. Yes, you, right? So, the fuck is this? Right. And then another hook. If your knees go weak when I whisper ROAS, right? That's a advertising term, right? You're gonna want to read every word of this ad. That's a hook, right? Let's look at more hooks. Jesus Christ, their copy is huge. Yeah, more. I'd give anything to know how to finally rank number one on Google, right? And then kind of a funny thing. Like, remember, I'm not clicking on this ad. This is the first thing I see on the ad. I see this, then I see this, copy and paste this to rank number one on Google, or I will see this. I'd give anything to know how to finally rank number one on Google, and then that's it. Second statement. Let's not beat around the bush here, amigo. You've tried SEO, right? Those are the first things you see when you see the ad. So these are kind of scroll stopping sort of stuff. Now, if we go to somewhere like, all right, Cartier, actually maybe Van Cleef. All right, let's just do Cartier first, right? So Cartier, everyone should know this company, obviously. Let's check on some of their hooks. I don't think they will be focusing that much on hooks because they will be focusing infinitely more on, for example, visual hooks. And obviously, you can already see the differences between these sort of ads and the internet marketing ads. Very, very different, right? So super short. There's no copy in this ad. There's just a hook. A love letter to you. Unbox the diamond jewelry collections from Cartier, right? It's very formal, right? And then this is super small, Born to Shine, which I hate that headline. I absolutely detest that headline. And then learn more. They don't have a sub headline. They don't have an above the fold headline. They don't have copy. Is directly this. You want to check it out?
It was always meant to be a Cartier diamond.
You know where this ad should have actually started? Here. This is exactly where the ad should have started instead of all of this. There. That zoom in should have started the ad. Well, lost chance. But all right, so that's the ad, right? They have a bunch of them. Like, for example, this is such a terrible one. They just have Cartier.com, right? And then, so these are the sort of things that the biggest jewelry company, and by the way, you don't have to copy them, right? They're a huge company. Let's see if they have fixed their, I hope so. I think they have fixed their landing page, right? Yeah. 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 All right. So the reason I'm checking about this is that they were running ads. I'm sure they still do. I think, yeah. So for example, they take them to to a page that doesn't exist. So you click on the ad and then the page where you're looking, like you want to buy their stuff that says, sorry, something went wrong. But look, they're still running it. All right. So that's ads. So we have the creative, then we have the hook. And then we have headline. We have the headline. Headline is this. This is the headline in ads. So if we go closer. So for example, the headline of this ad is like Born to Shine. That's a shitty headline. Anillo de Clash de Cartier. Look, this doesn't even have a headline. They are running an ad without a headline. Jesus Christ, they're terrible ads. Oh no, sorry. They were running ads. Hey, that's my fault. But anyway, these are ads, right? And they are running a bunch of them. They are running 1,100 ads, right? Obviously, the many subsidiaries. Obviously, there's a multinational company and everything, but they're running a bunch of ads, right? So that's ads. That's another way of getting customers. Now, what we said at the beginning was those are the four marketing channels: warm, cold. Those are DMs, right? People you don't know, people who you do know, messaging them one on one. Those are two channels. Then content, third channel, free posting content, and then paid advertising. Those are for first for the main, actually the only four channels that you can market to. Then you have the benefits and the cons of each. So, for example, the benefits of warm and cold outreach is that it's free. Content as well is free. If you're not paying someone, obviously, to do the content. Um, what are the cons? Well, obviously, the cons of messaging one on one to get customers is that it takes an enormous amount of time. Oh my God, it takes so much time. Like, at least for me, and I've and I became pretty good at it at some point, is that it was taking me like 10 hours. Now, obviously, we were selling very expensive stuff, so it was worth it, but it took a lot of time to get just one customer a week or something. It was insane. So that's the cons. The pros is that they are free. Cons of, for example, content are a bunch. One of them is that, I mean, we haven't been able to get many customers for content from content. We have gotten some for obviously jewelry shop owners and goldsmith shop owners. It's just that they have not been many. Like I could count them in two hands, right? Um, there are obviously an enormous amount of goldsmith shops, of goldsmith shop owners, of goldsmith solopreneurs, or an enormous amount of jewelry shop owners that make that acquire an enormous amount of customers through content. Of course, there are hundreds of them. It's just that very, very difficult, takes a long, long time. And normally is that what we have seen is that people who do get customers from content normally are advertising themselves on huge platforms other than their personal Instagram or their personal Facebook or their personal TikTok. Normally it's like they have a show or they go on shows, right? They go on multiple like television shows where they get an enormous amount of exposure, and they go to big podcasts and stuff like that, right? Right? Or they are friends of some celebrity or some mini celebrity or stuff like that. They're getting exposure through some different ways, and then they have content, pretty good content, and then from there they get customers, right? So there are those two things. That's at least what we have seen. Ads. So that the pros and the cons. The pros of content is honestly, in my opinion, at least exactly how we use them, is that it's a free way to testing hooks and getting your ads to cost less and get more leads. That's the benefit of content for us. Obviously, for content, goldsmith shops and jewelry shops, huge brands that are using content to get customers. Obviously, that's a different story, right? But for small or medium-sized local goldsmith shops and jewelry shops, it won't get you many customers. At least it hasn't got us, right? And we have done an enormous amount of volume, right? Ads, I mean, this is my favorite, right? So let's just skip to the last part, which is my favorite, which is the best, is that ads is by far my favorite. Now, the reason for it is that yes, you trade money, right? But there's the thing in ads that you're able to do a lot of volume very easily, put money behind your stuff, and get a bunch of leads pretty quickly. Now, obviously, the thing about ads is that you have to know how to do this. Most goldsmith shops and jewelry shop owners that I have talked to that have run ads in the past and gotten kind of angry with them is that they have run like 2 ads within like a month. They gave it a month, and then, or even less sometimes. And then they put like $300 behind those 2 ads. Maybe they got one or two leads, and then they just like, ads don't work. But that's not how ads work. Like, that's not the game. This is how kind of the game of ads work. So it goes, you test a bunch, right? So you test a bunch of creative. So what we do is we test 30 the first week one, right? That's what we test. And then out of those 30, we will have maybe two who are winners. And then for week two, we go and we duplicate those winners into other 30 ads, but those are just the two winners. And then we put a bunch of money into them. And then these work. And again, even some of these will not work and some of these will, but we are already spending money on winners. And then we do the exact same thing on week three, exact same thing on week four. Now, most people see this and say, oh my God, I have to make 30 ads just to test. And yes, it will be off putting to hear that. But honestly, it takes 4 hours. It's like 4 hours. Not that much. I promise you it's not that much. It sounds more, right? But it's not that much. So, um, method to method for warm and cold outreach is my favorite one was going to these big influencers, right? So these big influencers and just messaging all of their followers. M- Remember, 95% of them won't 99% of them won't convert. But if you have a 1.8 million leads and you convert 1% of them, like, oh my God, it's customers for the rest of the year. Like, it's insane, right? It just takes a lot of time. So what does a lot of time mean? It means you're going to be on your cell phone, on your bed, or on your sitting in front of your desk with your cell phone, and you're going to be doing this for 10 hours a day, 7 days a week, right? Is it worth it? I would say it's worth it when you get started. I would say that's worth it when you get started. You can get your first 10 customers, you know, and they will pay you. I mean, you will be selling them expensive stuff, right? So it's worth it when you start. It's not worth it to scale. At least it I didn't find it that way. I've gotten way more customers for goldsmith shops and jewelry shop owners by running Facebook ads, as this kind of these sort of things, right? Facebook ads. Way more customers, like 100 times, not 100%, 100 times more customers, right? So yeah, my favorite is ads, but this is a good way to start. So if you are like, for example, if you're one of those people in those public forums that are like, how do I sell my jewelry? It's like, it's free. You just have to like put headphones on, listen to music, and then just spend all day in this, right? It's free. Huh? It's very frustrating when you have sent 100 messages and zero replies, but keep on going because if you just get to like 350, like someone will answer, and then you get to 400, and then another person will answer, and then like more. What I've seen, at least in warm and cold outreach, is that when you're about to quit, keep going, and then that's when the result starts happening, right? And remember, first day you're gonna think like, I'm never gonna do this again. Second day, if you just pull through, you'll get more results. Third day, more results. Fourth day, more results because you're gonna get faster and better, right? If you just do it a lot. That's that was the case for me when I was like 21 years old and I was doing this. That was the case for me. I just did an enormous amount of it. But obviously now we just run Facebook ads and we have generated more than $100,000 for goldsmith shops and jewelry shops, which gets me to my last point, which is the CTA of this video. If you want to learn how to run Facebook ads and get a bunch of leads to turn into customers with a complete automated system so that you get leads from strangers from Facebook that walk into your shop, you sell them a bunch of expensive jewelry, and then you get 3 referrals out of them, and then you get those same people to come again and again and again to buy from you again and again and again. Click the link in the description of this video, and I'll teach you click by click how to automate that entire process in less than, let's say, 3 videos.